Hey everyone, welcome to BRAP. It is Friday, Black Friday actually, here in the US. Day after Thanksgiving. Want to welcome everyone to the show. Wish those a belated happy Thanksgiving for those who celebrate Thanksgiving here in the US. And yeah, with me is Game Logic. Logic, how are you this post Thanksgiving Black Friday?
I'm good, man. I'm really good. The Black Friday thing doesn't have me feeling good. I really have the Jones. So my wife and kids just went out of town for the weekend,
Mhm.
and so usually this is my time where, in many years, this would be my weekend to build a new PC or do a major upgrade. Uh, but I don't have any need to do that right now. So I really have the Jones for a new piece of hardware. But like, there's literally. But there's literally nothing for me to get. So I'm slumming
So
it.
it's actually not a bad problem to have.
It is.
Means that you
It is when you're a hardware monger, like I
well,
am.
yeah. Yeah, no, I can see that. I think I saw a Nate. I think he bought a new motherboard and a CPU, I think today. So he's
and
getting ready to
and
upgrade the beast.
and an AIO. So I gave him
Mm.
some crack in DM. I said, damn you. Now, admittedly, I mean, I fully see why he's doing that. He was on one of the Intel chips, the Gen 13. I think that was Meteor Lake. I think that had like the problems with the, I can't even remember it now, but the reliability problems that Intel had that really kind of crushed them for those two generations and really allowed AMD to move far ahead. I mean, AMD was already way ahead of them on performance, um,
Okay.
but he was on one of those Intel chips, a 13,000 series chip, and he was like, "Yeah, I mean, like, with prices changing and all that stuff, and I've got some downtime now, um, with the holidays meaning." I think he just, prices were good, and he was just like, "Yeah, let me strike now before, things potentially get worse from a price perspective, or I just kinda lose my window of opportunity." So, I get it, like, it's a very, very, very smart idea, um, but yeah, I'm very jealous. I've tried justifying, like, doing an upgrade right now. I've tried justifying getting a Mac Studio. I've tried moving from justification to rationalization, and I still can't come up with a formula that I would even approve of.
Yeah, I was looking at PCs today, and I was like, oh, maybe now's the time to pull the trigger on a new PC. And I'm like, nah, I don't feel like it. um, I don't know. I'm looking at about 2 grand for a new PC. Um,
I
thought
mean,
about, you know, huh?
crap, I mean, you can build a PC that equates to a PlayStation 5 Pro for $750.
Oh my goodness. You know, if that was the case, I'd happily do it, but that's not the case. Cannot build a performant PS5 Pro or performant PC that is performs like a PS5. Like you just can't do it. I did see that going around, Hamp. I saw. It's interesting. Like, where are these people coming from? Like, these people just coming out of the woodwork and making these claims that you can still do. Like, I don't know, man. I blame Destin Legary for this because he's the
Well
one that was big on spreading that narrative around.
well well, um, some mutuals, put them out, um no, I mean, I'm sorry, one of my mutuals said, "Well, you called out the hyena." So some of them came out because I said, because I put up a short tweet, when RAM prices skyrocketed, and I mentioned, like, you guys were wrong about this fall of last year, and you're like doubly wrong about it now, now that, prices are going through the roof. So lots of people jumped in, and shenanigans ensued after that. So it's funny. So Freight Voyager, just wondering, what are you meaning you're still waiting on them videos? Or yeah, I don't wanna assume what you're talking about, so just if you wanna kinda flesh out what you mean in the chat, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he means. Yeah, but I blame Destin Legary because he's the one that What's up, Lady Gamer? By the way, do the YouTube thing, everyone. Please hit the like button. I'm going to drop a link here in the live chat. Please retweet the link or share it on your favorite social media platform. And yeah, again, I just blame Justin Gary for that, spreading that around. That you can build a PS5 Pro for $750, a PC equivalent for $750. It's just like, no, you can't do that. And then there's the thing around optimization. Yeah, just it's a whole different conversation. But
And I pointed out right in the. I mean, there's a lot of this stuff to get into, but I pointed out in the course. You're telling people to go to this PC that is behind the times. Thank you, Frey Voyage. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Like, I'm a little paranoid because there have been some people. I think we'll get into it today. There have been some people who have been just falsely, like, when I've called people out for trying to throw shade at me on on baseless accusations. And one of the things I've said back to them is, like, I go to your Twitter profile and I can't tell who you are as a gamer. You have no clips and no screenshots of what games you play, or of you playing any games. And it goes beyond that, but we'll get into it. But a lot of them, a few of them have come back and tried to say, well, you don't post game clips or screenshots either. And I'm like, you have literally got to be joking me. Like, I have 37 posts in the month of November, which is not done, by the way. I have 37 posts on the month of November of clips and screenshots and YouTube videos of the games that I've been playing. So when you came in and said you're still waiting on them videos, I thought you were one of those guys. So I apologize. But I've said to these people, on this whole, build a PC that matches a PS5 Pro, I'm like, you're telling people to do this, put them on a machine that's behind the times, and there needs to be an acknowledgement that that PC is not going to last them 7 years, right? And allow them to play the newest games coming out over the next 7 years. Whereas a person buys a console and they can be on that console for 7 years, because developers who see that console sell and go into the market are going to consider that a primary hardware target for them to make games for and optimize. And games are going to continue to do well. And in fact, for the base consoles, what we have historically seen and continue to see is that the best games for the console come out when the console is at its oldest and still the primary console on the market. That it will not be the case that you will have on one of these potato PCs that people are recommending. At the 7-year point, if you were to keep it around that long, you will absolutely be paying the games in their worst presentation. But then in another case, right, one of I don't he's not a tech tuber, but he claims to be an engineer at AMD, recommended people a build. He quote tweeted one of my tweets, pointed people to a build. And I was talking to Gaming Ledger this morning, responding to a tweet, and I said, this person has recommended a build that puts people on AM4, on DDR4, on a 500 watt PSU power supply, and on a 1 terabyte SSD, and is telling people that this is the equivalent of the PlayStation 5 Pro. And I'm like, dude, the PlayStation 5 Pro, first of all, just right out of the gate, comes with a 2 terabyte SSD. I was like, you're putting people on a 500 watt PSU, and the recommended PSU for an RTX 5060 is 550 watts. So when they upgrade, this person's not going to have an upgrade path to go to on the next PSU, because the next GPU will definitely require a similar power supply. So this person's power supply is not making it. And you're telling people, and I'm sure that his response will be, well, they'll be fine on that power supply. You can run a power supply less than the recommended, but you shouldn't if you're a noob and you haven't been building for a while. He's putting you on an AM4 chipset, which isn't horrible, but AMD has moved on to AM5, and newer chips are going to be on AM5. And he's put you on DDR4 when the entire industry has moved on to DDR5. So my point is, this person's going to have to upgrade in less than 7 years, and they're going to have to spend the same amount that you're telling them to spend on a PC now to get out of that bathtub, and probably more. So that's the disingenuousness, and I mean, just quite frankly, just the flat out lie, right, of that's going around with this narrative. And so I call people out about it for round 2, right, because we called them out about it last year. So I called them out about it again here recently with the skyrocketing RAM prices, and people got mad.
Yeah, I don't again, for the life of me, I don't understand why this is a conversation, why people are still continuing this. I mean, I just, the obvious for me is look at the PlayStation 5 Pro, right? It's it it's an optimized, you know, piece of hardware that's going to have games that are specifically optimized to take advantage of that hardware. That's not always the case for PCs, right?
Yeah, and
Especially for like lower end configurations where you can't brute force your way to performance that's going to be good or satisfactory.
Yeah.
There's going to be games that you're not going to be able to play that you can play on PS5 Pro that you're not going to be able to play on this potato PC.
and it's not supported by a standing army of 12,000 plus devs first party.
No, it's not. No. Yeah. I mean, you're going to be on the outside looking in. There's definitely going to be games that you're not going to be able to play on this potato PC build that you'll be able to play on PS5 Pro. Like there's no way around that. So it's just a weird argument. And I again blame Destin Legary. Destin's kind of interesting as a content creator because I'm like, Destin, you spent all these years at IGN, surrounded by, covering the industry. Like I don't know, like my assumption is you would have absorbed some knowledge from interacting with people in the industry instead of just, I don't know, rattling off things that just don't make sense. Or maybe he's doing that purposely just to drive engagement. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. I mean, and somebody's saying it in chat now, kind of a thing that I alluded to in the media too. Say they have to tell you if you buy at my partner, you get a big discount, and they get a big check for doing this advertisement. They often don't get people thinking that you get the performance others. And this is one of the things that I pointed out, like the mainstream media, like we have a lot of people who don't understand. I can't remember exactly what year it was, but a few years ago, there was a major inflection in the way SEO operates on the web. And so Google made a huge change under pressure, regulatory pressure, that basically said, you're no longer going to get traffic driven to you just by posting like a headline, right? We're going to actually do a deeper inspection of what's behind it and check that there's actually content. And so if you haven't noticed, what you see on the web a lot now is you don't see just straight ads as much, but what you will see is these articles that are posted, right, that say, RTX 5060s have dropped to their lowest price ever, right, on Amazon, and it's a full article, right, and you go to it, and so these articles, like this build a PC for the price of a PlayStation Pro, IGN ran one of them, and when you go to it, it's actually not like a technical assessment article. It is an article filled with affiliate links, so that if you click through and you fall for this crap and you buy that part, IGN makes money. So I mean, this is kind of what Robeson is, alluding to about, how, not only individuals, right, but also, full-blown formal media outlets are all engaged in this business of, writing these puff pieces that are actually littered with affiliate links to try and get you to buy through, and earn them revenue. So it's dark patterns. It's very mischievous. It's very predatory.
It's like, I don't know, man. I just, some of this stuff I fear is going to lead to the downfall of humanity. All this predatory stuff, the rage bait. I saw a lot of people upset over Ghosts of Yote winning awards at the Golden Joysticks. I don't know. I don't know. I was thinking about it the other day. Like I'm playing Arc Raiders, and I'm like, Arc Raiders may be a glimpse into our future where AI is taking over and we're scavenging for parts. I never thought Idiocracy would be. I looked when I watched it in 2000. I think it came out in 2008, 2009. I think it was a comedy, and now I look back at it logic, and I'm like, they were warning us of what the future is going to look like. So when I see some of the arguments on Twitter and to your point about some of the stuff online, some of the articles that really aren't articles, and YouTubers and the fact that people don't read, that's the other thing. There was an article that went out a couple of days ago about the potential price increase, another price increase of the Xbox as related to as a result of the increased RAM prices, and somebody was like, "Oh, this is biased media. PlayStation 5 uses RAM too. Why aren't they covering PlayStation 5?" And they didn't bother to read the article. The article actually explains why PlayStation 5 may not be impacted by the RAM shortage, because Sony's, I guess, stockpiled um, has stockpiled enough RAM to kind of offset any immediate price increase in the short term.
Well,
But again, yeah,
common sense would tell you that the company that's selling a lot of consoles, right, would most likely have a vested interest in being ahead of that curve, right, in the marketplace, and would have procured a larger supply of advanced procured components, right, than the company that is not selling through a lot of consoles and has consoles being taken off the shelf in certain retail chains. Like, why would you? I mean, we also need to remember, and I mean, this has been pertinent to my commentary on the Steam machine too. Like, companies have to pay for storage. Like, companies pay for warehousing. Maybe micro, even if it's a facility that they own, they're still paying for it. And so, it doesn't necessarily follow suit that it would make sense, for Xbox, for Microsoft to stock up on those components as much as it would PlayStation.
Yeah, but I think most people just don't know that, like they don't think about like the fact that PlayStation's getting, we talked about this with Falke. What is it? They're getting discounted pricing on parts because they're ordering in bulk.
Yeah, the volume discount pricing that you get.
Volume discount, yeah. So the economies of scales favor PlayStation because they can order that in bulk. So when you're not selling a lot of consoles, you don't necessarily have, you don't have that discount, right? You're paying more because you're not producing as much or ordering in bulk as you would if you were producing and selling as much hardware, or a lot of hardware. But most people don't know that. But still, I mean, like what's interesting is that if people actually read the article, they would have seen that. They would have seen that, like, yeah, like there's a reason for that, for why PlayStation isn't listed. It's like, I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's really. I was off Twitter, on a little bit last couple of days, but not on as much as I usually am. And I just saw a couple of those things pop up on the timeline, and I just read the article. I'm like, oh well, here's the reason why. But people just knee jerk reaction. Oh my god, it's it's hate on Xbox again. It's like, no, it's not hate. There's actually legitimate reasons, potentially reasons for why this is potentially only happening or may only happen to Xbox. Again, none of this has been confirmed. Just something that came out from a video from Moore's Law is Dead on YouTube, which claimed that that there could be another Xbox price increase because of shortage of RAM. But we'll see. Who knows if that actually happens or not? Again, none of that's been confirmed. Just something that's out there right now. That's being speculated by this one particular podcast or YouTube channel. But I will say this: if the price increase does happen, Logic, that'd be interesting, because this would be another price increase, and for Xbox, who knows what that price increase would look like. But we've seen, the cost of its Series X console move up by what is it, $100? I forget. I haven't really paid much attention to Xbox and what their pricing is now, but I think it went up by $100 if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? I have to go back and check.
I thought it was $650 now, but I could be wrong. 1 terabyte disk drive carbon black version SKU is $650. The 1 terabyte all digital robot white is $600. So I mean, total it's up $150 from its launch price.
Yeah, and Nate says, read the article. Haha, most of them barely read the headline. Well, that's the point. They don't read. Like, people just read. Just like instead of getting like, oh my god, no, this is all meta. Like just take a deep breath. Inhale, exhale, and just read the article. You might learn something.
And Uchineobe in chat says something very pertinent. A reminder: Xbox consoles are not on sale for Black Friday, where PlayStation consoles are $100 off.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Black Friday deals, because that's kind of interesting. That there's no. I know if you go to the Microsoft store, they are giving $130 trade in for an Xbox, towards an Xbox. So, but yeah, they aren't the traditional Black Friday deals, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But I do want to circle back to your Logic in terms of gaming. I know you mentioned you posted a bunch of gameplays on gaming gameplay videos of games that you're playing. I did see that you're playing Madden, playing a little MLB The Show. What else are you currently playing right now?
Let's see. So, a very funny twist, given some of the arguments I've been in this week. I'm actually playing a little bit of Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri on PC. So I had a hankering for to get into like a 4X game. So I had a lot of options, but decided I would go back to that one. It's kind of interesting. I forget the level of complexity that game would offer in terms of like in most Civ games when you get like a tech upgrade, you get like certain additional units that you can build, right? Provided that you build like the barracks or whatever infrastructure building or whatever produces those units. In Alpha Centauri, it's kind of interesting. You get new technologies, and then you get access to individual upgrade components. And so whenever you get these upgrades, you're presenting the screen and you just go in and create, not whatever, but you create various units that you want to build for the components you have available. And so it gives you a little bit more variation, right, in terms of kind of the units that you have in your army. So that's been pretty interesting. I've been playing a lot of Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation 5 Pro, and I've been playing both on the console, but also via the PlayStation 5 Portal. PlayStation 5 Portal, yes, PlayStation Portal. I don't know if you saw the post that I made, but I had to take a kid to swim practice, and so it's one of those sports where like they don't want the parents in there. So you can go inside, but the parents can't actually get to like the area to like see them swimming. Um, but so I had my iPhone 17 Pro Max, and then I had the PlayStation Pro, and of course I'd left my PlayStation Pro. I had my PlayStation Portal. Of course, I left the PlayStation 5 Pro in standby, TV off, right here at the house, and so I connected the Portal to my iPhone, enabled the hotspot on my iPhone, connected back to my house, which was about 20 miles away, and played a half hour of Spider-Man 2 from the car. So it's a pretty awesome experience. And then yeah, I've been playing a lot of MLB The Show 25 on the Nintendo Switch too.
Yeah. So how was Spider-Man? Because you were, I think in the post you mentioned you were probably about 30 minutes from your house.
30 minutes, but about 20 miles as the crow flies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so how was the performance? Like, did you have to adjust for any like input latency or anything like that?
No, it played fine. The like in the last 5 minutes, because the pool where my kid practices is at a boarding school, so it's a little bit so that pool is a little bit out in the boonies, and so in the last 5 minutes or so, my connectivity started being bad, but that was that was an issue of like the phone to the cell tower, and even then, there was enough ride through and resilience in the PlayStation 5 PlayStation Portal connectivity that it's not like it lost or dumped anything, and I had to get through a few frame stutters, but I was able to get to complete the mission that I was on, and get to a point where I could do a manual save, back out of the, close the game, back out to the PlayStation 5 home screen, do a graceful shutdown, and then disconnect. So it was great. It was fun.
Yeah, I've been playing a bunch of Arc Raiders. um Yeah, so I don't know. I think I'm might be level 15 now. Um, I don't know. Like I don't know if I will say the game is fun. Logic. I think I'm definitely enjoying. I keep going back to it. Right. I think like there's certain times where like I may run into a rando and we team up and start scavenging together, or I might run to a rando that helps me take out a hornet or a rocketeer. Which I can't stand the Rocketeers. I had a Rocketeer take me out as I'm getting ready. Thank goodness I was actually in the elevator lift getting ready to go back to the home base, which I forget the name of the home base, but um, Rocketeer actually took me out as I was getting ready to head down. But so yeah, those encounters, like when you meet people, most people are friendly for the most part. Like when you're playing solo, but I have run into uh, a few stragglers that decided to rob me blind. That's happened about 3 times. That's happened about 3 times. So, but for the most part, like I haven't run into many bad actors um, in Arc Raiders. But what's interesting, Logic? We had Wooly on to talk about Arc Raiders, and he was really excited about the game, and I know Nib was playing it, and I think one of the questions, I don't know if I brought it up here or Crossfire. One of the questions I raised was, what is the engagement, or what it, you know at least with some of the gamers on my friends list that were playing Arc Raiders when it released, and many of them were, but many of them are not playing it anymore. And so my question was like, is this thing going to have a long tail, at least for some of the gamers on my friends list? I'm seeing that many have dropped off and have onboarded into other games now. So I'm like, okay, well, that's always my concern with live service games, right? Like, if for me, it's always been like, if I have a good core of friends or gamers on my friends list that I can play a game with, then I'm probably more likely to stay engaged with that live service game. Um, Now you can, like I said, you can. I'm playing the solo. I'm enjoying it solo. Um, but I do think I probably have probably be, I probably would enjoy the experience a bit more if I was playing with people that I knew, people on my friends list. Um, and so the crafting and looting. There's times where some of the times I go out and loot are pretty easy. There's times where I just happen to run into just a bunch of hornets and rocketeers and some of the different AI that can attack you, and that's frustrating at times where for whatever reason they just find me. I'm kind of tiptoeing around and they just happen to fly by me and just start attacking, and there's probably like 3 or 4 hornets that I'm taking on at one time. Um, but even there were times where I'm close to like there was a I think it was yesterday. When I was playing. I was close. No, it was actually I think it was Wednesday when I was playing. I was close to an escape hatch because I had the like an arc key that can unlock like an escape hatch that you can use without having to go one of the lifts to take you back. And I think I said this. I think I may have shared this with you, Logic, but I was probably like a couple feet away and I ran out of time and I died. And that was so frustrating because I had a great, great, great run, loot run. And I was carrying some things that I needed to upgrade one of my workbenches, and I lost all that, And even though that was frustrating, for whatever reason, I went back and started all over again. So there's something there, Logic. I don't know I don't know if it's just because there isn't anything else that I want to play right now, and that's why I'm going back to Arc Raiders, or if I know this sounds weird, but really, if I'm really, really enjoying the game. I mean, I like it, but I don't know like how much more looting I want to do. Um, I don't know. It's been an interesting experience. Like extraction shooters aren't typically my thing, but I'm playing it. So that I guess that says something. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's gonna be interesting if there's another game that releases soon that crosses my timeline that that I decide to put more time into. Um, that's going to be interesting to see whether or not I go back to Arc Raiders. So I don't know.
Do you think you're getting a little bit of that golf swing effect?
What do you mean by golf swing effect?
So what do I mean by that? And I think you get a little bit of this in Souls games too, which we know is in your bailiwick. There's this effect that you get for things that you are not necessarily, I don't want to say not necessarily like universally good at, but just that are like high risk, right? And kind of punishing to a certain extent. And so if you're new to golf,
Sounds like
right?
marriage.
We'll get into that because then we'd have to start talking about the payoff, and that might get a little crazy on here.
Are we saying that? Are we saying that marriage is like extraction shooters?
So what I mean by the golf swing effect is like when you're new to golf.
Yeah, you keep
a thing that keeps you going back to it, even when you suck, is that even when you suck, in 1 or 2 holes out of 18, you will hit this great drive, right? And what keeps you coming back is you don't know why you've done it because you haven't taken any lessons, right? You've just been lucky. But what keeps you coming back and what keeps you continuing to play those other 16 holes is that you keep, I don't know, have you seen F1, the movie?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. In F1, the movie, there's this discussion. It's not a big spoiler. There's this discussion of like this, when you're a race car driver, there's this moment in time that you will sometimes hit where like the world just fades away. Like everything goes silent. You can't hear the car engine. You are just, and it's this expression of just being ultimately in the zone. And the guy mentions right in the movie how he's like only experienced like that like one time, and that's why he keeps racing, because he's constantly chasing that one moment, right, to see if he can capture it again, and that's what's in the thrill and the love for him. And so golf is a lot like that, right? It's like you hit that one swing, and you're like, oh, like I could do it again. And it's like you do all these like gymnastics and pretzeling to try and like repeat this thing, and then the next time you go play, it happens again, like one time. And so you gain interest in it. Is that what's going on with you with Arc Raiders? Is that like, yes, you're getting seal clubbed, 4 times out of 5, but like that one run that you make where you pull it off, you're like, I want to experience that again.
Yeah, it might be that one run, right? Like you talk about like so you talk about like Souls games, right? You think about Souls games and that perfect parry, and taking out, and you get back. And the thing about Souls games is like when you encounter a boss, right, and you're fighting that boss, and you get so close to beating them, and you're like, shit, I was right there. I had like maybe 2 more hits and they were done, or that last hit I would have had him, he was done, but I got a little too aggressive and I got killed. Like that's part of the, at least for me, that's part of the attraction to Souls games, right? That almost, or figuring out, learning a specific boss's move set, and timing that. Yeah, that could be it. Like, getting that perfect loot run, right? Like going out there and okay, yeah, I'm surrounded by 3 hornets, but I was able to take them out. Where the last time I encountered 3 hornets, they took me out. And so it's maybe some of that is probably me thinking, okay, like what other ways, how else can I approach 3 hornets when I, after being killed by them, how else could I have done that differently? What else can I do? What weapon should I carry? And so I think it's part of that planning process too, for me, that maybe keeps me going back where I'm, okay, well, I didn't have, there's a type of grenade that you can throw that's really effective against hornets. You throw it out and it launches, like it basically launches projectiles that hone into the hornet and we'll take it out. So I started taking those, right? I'm like, I started taking those with me, and so that was helpful. And when, I'd be surrounded by 3 or 4 hornets, just throw one of those grenades out, or 2 of them, and they would take out the hornets in like one shot. So I think it's part of that, like that golf swing effect that you described. Like, yeah, I may whiff a couple times, but that, that one time that I get close to the pin, 150 yards out, with my with my 8-iron, it's like, yeah, like I want to recreate that experience again. And then you go out there and you miss next time you're 150 out. But it could be that. I very much like story-driven games. Like that's my thing. I like these. I like the games. We often talk about, joke around about how I enjoy the AAA games. This is definitely a different experience, especially coming off Ghost of Yotei, and then playing Dispatch, and then jumping right into this. Completely different types of games. So I think it's probably that logic that having that perfect run, or that sense of exploration too. I think that's part of it. It's one of the things I like in The Last of Us, where Last of Us, there is some exploration and looting to be able to craft different items, weapons, healing items that you can use. The same thing in Arc Raiders. So, but yeah, like I wouldn't say this is one of the best games I've played this year. I know Wooly was very high on Arc Raiders and it being one of the best games, but I wouldn't put it in that category because it's not the type of game I typically play. But yeah, I don't disagree, Logic. I think that's probably what it is with me. Where it's getting that perfect loot run, right? Because there's times where like you'll like I'll spawn and like this happened today. I spawned somewhere and I was messing with like a homing beacon. I forget what it's called, and I started and I didn't see any hornets. Like I typically try to scan the area, right? If I'm looting, make sure there aren't any hornets or any arcs around that could come out and give me trouble. But there's this homing device. I forget what it's called. Some of them crash and aren't active. Some are. The active ones, I was actually trying to. I was opening it up, and all of a sudden, like four hornets just came out of nowhere, and just took me out. So I was mad. I was like, literally, I just literally spawned into the world, and this is what happens. I died. So, but I do want to play it. I need to find a group to play it with. There are some mutuals on Twitter, Logic, that I know that are still playing this game that I need to reach out to say, hey, like, are you up for making doing a quick run? Because I've only experienced playing it with a squad. I think one game session on Arc Raiders, and that was with Nib and one of his other friends on PlayStation. And that was fun. I think we extracted with like 1 second left. So that's where I'm at with Arc Raiders. I'll probably go back to it after the show and play it again. And actually, it's interesting. I'm not saying that this means that this game is extremely popular, but I was really surprised to hear my 11-year-old express interest in Arc Raiders. And then he said to me, hey, one of my friends is actually playing. And I didn't believe him. I'm like, your friend? He's like, yeah. And then, and I know his friend pretty well because I coached him in basketball last year. They were on the same team. And his friend was actually here at the house on Wednesday. And his friend said to me, I said, hey, are you, so you're playing Arc Raiders? He's like, yeah. I'm like, are any of your other friends playing? Because yeah, I have a couple other friends that are playing Arc Raiders too. And I'm like, that's interesting. So now my 11-year-old really wants to play. He's been watching me play. And I said to him, like, this isn't Fortnite. You have to manage your inventory. You have to craft. You have to be careful of you have to make sure that, when you're loading into the world that you have the right equipment with you and the right, you have enough healing items with you and shield regeneration and stuff like that, because you'll get killed and you need to be careful because there are people out there that there are raiders out there that will seem friendly and shoot you in the back. That actually happened to me too, where I was looting with someone. He seemed friendly, and then all of a sudden I turn my back, he shoots me, and I'm dead. So,
well, the sad thing is the dudes you are running into that are like that are like me. I definitely shoot first. I don't ask questions. I'm coming from a different place in extraction shooters. We're not giving anybody the benefit of the doubt. We're not doing that today.
Well, most people are like, hey, don't shoot, if you have proximity chat on, they'll say, hey, don't shoot, friendly, or they'll ask you, are you friendly? And I'm like, first of all, if you're asking me if I'm a friendly, if I'm not a friendly, I'm not going to say, oh no, I'm not a friendly. Like, I'm not going to tell you that. If my intention is to rob you, I'm going to say, yeah, I'm a friendly. And as soon as you turn your back, I'm going to rob you.
Yeah, the problem is nobody has a chance to talk to me because they don't see where I am because I don't like I hear people coming and I immediately take cover, duck, hide, stay under concealment, and then if I get the drop on them, like I'm not asking any questions. I'm not going to be the first person to open dialogue. The only way that's going to work with me is if you're literally running around saying, "Don't shoot, don't shoot."
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people do. You hear the don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't shoot, but I just don't like. And actually, I did rob someone. The first, maybe this might be the only time that I've actually robbed someone. They were like, "Are you friendly?" And I was like, "Yes." And I was looting with them for a little bit, giving him that sense of that false sense of safety, like, hey, this person isn't going to loot this person isn't going to shoot me. And as soon as they turned their back, I just hit him with a shot and then switched to my assault rifle and just took him out and then robbed them. And I got an achievement for it. I was like, oh, and you get an achievement for robbing someone for the first time. So but there are some things that I want to do with this game. There are raids that I want to do. There's something going on right now in the first map that you onboard to in Arc Raiders. I forget the name of the map. It's the one with, what the hell is it called? Something Battlefield. It's where the dam's there. I don't know. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, I thought it was called like the dam area or something.
Maybe
like
it's
that.
the dam. Yeah, but there was some kind of event yesterday where an arc landed and like one of the larger arcs was protecting it, and like you log onto the game, it's like, oh, this thing landed and it's being protected by the queen, and if you could defeat the queen, just imagine like what's waiting for you. And so it's like, ooh, that sounds interesting. And then when I load into the map, I did see some people like trying to shoot it from a distance, but I'm like, I'm not wasting ammo. This thing is like a fucking bullet sponge. There's no way. I'm like, I got the sense that like me and like the four other guys were trying to take this thing down. Like, we were going to be there all day. Like, and I was going to run out of ammo, so I just left. But there's things like that that I think are pretty cool with Arc Raiders. So, Mr. Gribb says, "Damn, BRAP, why did you do him like that?" Well, I mean, I think I did it because one, I had never robbed anyone in the game. And I think actually when I did that, I was feeling some certain way about being robbed at like 2 games before. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and rob someone, like I'm tired of being the nice guy, try to help people out. But then I felt bad after I did it, especially when that achievement popped. I was like, oh, you get an achievement for robbing someone. I was like, that kind of sucks. But, yeah, so I don't know, Logic. I know you have played Arc Raiders and you're not playing it right now, but do you have any, are you planning on going back to it?
Yeah, it's in the rotation. I'll get back to it eventually.
Yeah. All right, let me grab this super chat here. Game Ledger with the $5 grenade says, "Listen to the pod. We're trying to figure out how to get a statement of work approved by my executives. Hope you guys get a good turkey day down there." Yeah, thank you for that, Game Ledger. Good luck on that statement of work. Hopefully that gets approved. So that's pretty much it in terms of what I'm playing right now. I did actually run a quick like 2 rounds of Battlefield 4 or I'm sorry, not Battlefield 4, Battlefield 6 Red Sec, the battle royale game. And felt like a, military shooter. Nothing I don't know. Like again, I've only played like 2 rounds, so I really can't speak too much. It just felt like, just a military battle royale shooter, I don't know. Nothing really like stood out to me, but again, I've only played 2 rounds, so I'd probably have to play a bit more to get a better feel for it. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out. There are the one thing I'll say this, Logic. I have tried to focus on missions though to keep me focused on Arc Raiders, and that's kind of helped too. That's the other thing that has brought me back to it, like just trying to like wrap up some of these missions that you get from some of the vendors. So I've been doing that. Oh, and I found a great place to loot for like rare items that I could sell too. That's the other thing, to gain more money.
Oh, you found out in the world a place to loot?
Yeah, there's a place where you can get like those rare items that you can sell and get a lot of money. So, so I found a location. I forget what it's called. Forget the name of the location. Now you got to be careful there, 'cause sometimes there's turrets there on the wall, and the turrets do they deal a lot of damage if you're not careful. So
Gotcha.
yeah, but yeah, after the podcast is over, I'm definitely gonna go back and play. I know my kids are so mad right now because, like, they try to hog the PlayStation 5 and stuff. And I'm like, nah. It's like, I'm playing Arc Raiders. You guys need to go somewhere else, do something else, because I'm getting my gaming time in, especially while I'm off work. So all right, Logic. Anything else you're playing, or is that pretty much it for your rotation?
That's it. That's it for this week. I mean,
Yeah.
there's other stuff I'm playing, but like I have things that I've only hit up one time. Like No Man's Sky. I started a new campaign in No Man's Sky is where I left off last time after a long layoff. I was like, I don't know where I am or what I'm doing. I forget. I think it was where Raymond talks. He and I have chatted a lot on Blue Sky about how when you go back to that game, like you just don't remember like the do loop and all the mechanics and stuff, and you have to relearn it. And so it's kind of, I will admit, it's kind of wasteful to get into it and then drop it. And I had like 24 hours in on my Steam campaign and tried to pick it up, and I was like, yeah, that's not happening. I need to start over. Been playing a little Trackmania, so that's been pretty neat to go to. And then you mentioned Madden, and then last night actually, I have a number of things like in my running like gaming task list of things I want to do, and I hit the trigger for the thing that told me to go hook my Oculus Rift S back up to my PC and install all the VR drivers and stuff. And so that's what I'm planning on doing today is getting back into a little VR, prepping for the I was about to say HTC, prepping for the Steam Frame to come out next year, and seeing if I like getting back into VR. If I don't know if people remember, but like I had taken all my VR stuff maybe a couple years ago. I know when I was this happened right before Slow Mo and I were talking, and I think right before he bought his Meta Quest 3, I think. But I had taken all my VR kits, my HTC Vive, my Oculus Rift S, my Acer. I can't remember what that Acer thing is called. My Windows mixed reality headset. And I'd actually taken them out and put them all in the utility room because I was like, I don't like the whole setting these things up and breaking them back out and like configuring the pods or whatever for the HTC Vive. I'm like, I got other things I want to do. This really bogs me down with gaming. And then a couple months ago, I went and dragged a few of them out. I didn't realize I still had them. I thought I had sold them. I guess I had only sold the Acer Windows mixed reality headset. Um, and then I found the Vive, and so I was like, oh, I must have kept this one because I thought it was like the highest quality one, despite all the crap you have to do to set that thing up. And then like a month later, I was digging around the utility room. And I was like, oh crap, the Oculus Rift S is still in here. Um, so I broke that out, and so I'm planning on getting into a game called VTOL VR later today, which is this flight simulation, but unlike other flight sims, um, it actually uses the Rift S controllers for flight control. So you don't usually with flight sims that enable VR, I have to I put the VR headset on, but then I'm also hooking up a whole HOTAS or flight control system or my yoke and quadrant system. So I have these like advanced peripherals out, but which I of course I can't see while I'm in the headset. So I'm flying everything by touch and feel, which works for some people. It causes me a little bit of dissonance, but this VTOL VR game is like super popular, overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. And one of the reasons is because you don't have to do all that; you just control it with the Rift S controller. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah, I haven't played. I haven't used my VR device in a long time. It's been a while. Yeah, it's just I have a Quest. It's just not something I played it. I played a couple games. Use it to watch Netflix because they have that like where you can like sit down like in a virtual living room and watch Netflix or like in a theater. But that's about it. I haven't gone back to it. Yeah, and I think what's the best? I'm sorry, you have the HTC. Is it the Vive? Is that I forget?
Yeah,
That's the
I have the
yeah.
original Vive. They've come out with several
Okay.
advanced
Oh, okay.
headsets
Gotcha.
beyond
Gotcha.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. What like so? What's the best VR headset these days? I used to follow this, but I haven't followed VR. Really kept up with it much lately.
Yeah, I used to follow it too, and we actually used to do a VR podcast with the person I mean, he's off doing other things now, but he and I were content creator collaborators for like 20 years. Um, and I actually don't know as well. I went looking a few months ago because I thought I was originally gonna get these things out, break them out, play some VR, and then kind of get a feel for what I should do for an upgrade. So I guess the Vive is still a good headset, but like I forget how much it's going for on Steam now, but like I wouldn't plunk down $700-800, for a kit, knowing that they're about to move on to the frame. HTC still has some pretty good kits, and very advanced. Of course, they're expensive, so I think where I am right now, um, I'm just gonna wait for the frame. I mean, for me, my biggest problem is I really want a kit, which is counterintuitive because it's not the way VR manufacturers feel the market is moving right now. I want a kit that hooks up directly to my GPU so that it takes advantage of all of the power available from the GPU. It's not relying on, some type of wireless stream that's, going to be limited and capped by bandwidth. And I want the reliability and consistency, right, and the least amount of lag, etc. And even the frame, I'm waiting to see an announcement, right, that there's going to be some type of cable tether that you can use. I believe the Meta Quest does have a tether where you can connect it directly to the PC. Um, but yeah, as far as what's on the market now, I think it's the Valve Index still, um, and the and some of those HTC headsets.
Hey, Hamp, did you? I want to move on to the golden joysticks here. Did you see Claire Obscure Expedition 33?
I didn't watch it. I've seen some of the coverage and some of the headlines. Yeah.
Yeah, 7 wins at the Golden Joystick Awards 2025.
Yeah, which
7
tied
wins.
did it tied or beat the record for that Baldur's Gate 3 had set?
That's a great question. I don't know.
It
Let me
at
see if I
least
can see.
tied it. I can't remember if
Yeah,
it tied it or if it beat it though.
yeah, I don't remember. It did win best storytelling, best multiplayer game. I didn't. I'm sorry. I'm going to read some of the winners here for the 2025 Golden Joysticks. Best storytelling went to Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Best multiplayer game went to Peak. Best visual game design went to Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Best indie game went to Blueprints. Best indie game self-published went to Hollow Knight Silksong. Excuse me. Still playing award PC and console went to Minecraft. Still playing award mobile went to Pokemon Go. Best remake remaster went to The Elder Scrolls. Oblivion Remastered. Studio of the Year went to Sandfall Interactive. That's Claire Obscure Expedition. Best game expansion went to Liza P. Overture. Best audio design went to Ghost of Yote. Best soundtrack went to Claire Obscure Expedition 33. I'm not surprised by that. Best lead performer, Jennifer English as Mayel in Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Best supporting performer went to Ben Starr. He plays Verso in Claire Expedition 33. PC Game of the Year went to Hollow Knight Silksong. Console Game of the Year went to Ghost of Yote. Best early access game went to Repo. Best gaming hardware went to the AMD Ryzen 9 9950X 3D. Best game adaptation went to Arcane Season 2, Netflix. Best game trailer went to Grand Theft Auto 6. Most wanted game also went to Grand Theft Auto 6. those are the winners at the some of the winners of the this year's Golden Joystick. So, anything stand out to you in that list? Like I just rattled off real quick.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's all fairly well expected.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see Claire Screw Expedition 33 win a lot of awards at next month's Game Award show. I don't think it's not going to win all 12 of its nominations, but I think it's going to win a lot.
Yeah, I mean, my main, I don't want to say sympathy, but my main thing for these guys, I hope they learn the lesson of Larian Studios, because I think Larian made mention of how like just the cavalcade of awards just left them woefully unprepared, right? That they weren't prepared for, all the trips and appearances that they would need to make, and had to figure out like how to eventually, because I think eventually, I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. Maybe it's Lars, like the main head of Larian Studios, or at least the creative director on Baldur's Gate 3. I think eventually, as they got down to like the last couple of award shows, they had to like start figuring out of like how to more tactically assign people, to cover down on the various events that they had to get to. So I hopefully Sandfall like sees that coming and is kind of prepared on how to have a rotation, a duty rotation, a watch list of who's going to cover down on what show and be where and when.
Yeah, that's a great point. Also, I did mention Critics' Choice logic. Donkey Kong Bonanza actually won Critics' Choice at the Golden Joysticks.
Is that what is the Critics' Choice? I don't remember all of the jury and adjudication.
I think that's I don't either. I'm assuming that's probably gaming media.
Yeah. It's I can't remember if we've talked about it on this show, but I think it's an interesting thing to kind of pull apart. This whole notion of award shows in terms of like I don't agree with the people who say Donkey Kong Bonanza deserves to be in because it's a great platformer, right? Meaning that their justification of it is that it is best in class in its genre. Like, Nib and I went at it a few years ago because I guess because for a moment in time I kind of felt the same way. Like, because of course I'm a big flight sim and racing sim guy, and I'm like, so those games never, like, there's never any opportunity for them to really compete for those awards. And Nib was obviously on the side, of like, the story driven stuff, and that's why. And I get that, and I understand that. Today, I'm not on the side of, you don't get a nod just because you're necessarily best in class in your genre, because many things are best in class in their genre. And when we talk about DK Bonanza, I was kind of like, I've played DK Bonanza. I'm like, it doesn't have like the depth and the breadth of an Expedition 33, and by no means did it like sock me in my gut and put me in my feels the way Expedition 33 did. And then you talk about kind of the complexity of the dynamics of the strategy, in the progression system and how you go about it. Like, yes, DK Bonanza has a progression system. It's kind of borderline like nonsensical. Like, I don't really know what it matters. I mean, it eventually matters at a very tactical, granular level in terms of like you have to get like the ostrich like hyperspeed right trot in order to surmount some of the obstacles that are presented. But that's not really like a thinking tactical impact, right? In terms of like the skills that you acquire in progression in Expedition 33, and then you having to decide how you stack those skills to make your teammates interoperate, right? And be more powerful than the sum of your parts. So it's just different. And like I said, I'm not of the mindset that DK should just be there just because it's a great platformer. I guess there's a part of me that feels like to a certain extent, like we've moved on, and so like I don't personally hold platformers in high regard. They used to be kind of like the core, the meat of console gaming. It's like when you were going to launch a console, it was like that was one of the big five that were essential. You would need to have like a great platformer that was kind of a visual feast. I'm like, okay, we're definitely not living in that world now. So I feel like there's room, for that not to be kind of the standard.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up like in the past, right? Like you'd have to launch a piece of hardware with a great platformer. Makes you think of like TurboGrafx 16 when they had Bonk's Adventure, you know, and then Sega Genesis with Sonic the Hedgehog. Obviously, we know about Mario's history. Um, so, Logic, are you saying that you feel like they just don't carry as much weight as they did, 20 years ago,
I
30 years
absolutely,
ago?
I absolutely do not. No,
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's not me. That's not me taking a swipe at platformers, right? I mean, we have been through these periods in the industry. We went through a time when like flight sims used to come out like a new impactful flight sim used to come out like once a quarter, right? In the PC gaming heyday, like in the early 2000s. And then that stopped being the case. And as a result, SciTech, right, was on the verge of going out of business and wound up getting bought by Mad Cats of all people. Um,
Mm,
People like Thrust the Warthog, that flight control system came out like I don't know when, like in the like before 2010 at some point. It's still like the thing because like people just like there's not the content there to get people to move on. Um, we had a period in time where literally RTSs were the game of the year on PC Gamer for like a decade running. It was always an
mhm.
RTS. They were
Yeah.
always getting really highly reviewed, and then we went through a time where they're not as impactful anymore these days. Like we moved past the days of StarCraft, um, and now really you kind of only in Command and Conquer. You really only kind of have the Total War series really carrying that banner. When you talk about games that are coming out in that genre that are AAA,
Hmm.
Supcom was kind of the peak of it. Um, and so, I mean, there's definitely genre. I mean, and it's cyclic, right? There are definitely genres that now are not in the zeitgeist the way they used to be. And I'm like, so those genres had their time where they were kind of always the game of the year, or we're always in the nomination, we're always in the discussion, we're always in the pack. Um, so I think I'm of the mindset that I think there can be some acknowledgement that some of those things have, I don't want to say past their prime, but some of those things are just not as impactful and as relevant in the cultural conscious, I think, as other aspects of gaming as we've evolved.
Mm. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, no, it's interesting perspective. I think we talked a little bit about it. I don't know if it was the last BRAP we had last week, but I think we had we discussed the award show because Donkey Kong Bonanza was nominated for Game of the Year. But no, it's interesting. Definitely. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about. I really haven't thought about platformers as Game of the Year. Um, I mean, I can't think of a time where I've had a platform as my Game of the Year. It's probably been a long time. Um, but it's interesting to see. It's interesting to see Donkey Kong Bonanza. There's been other Mario games that have been Game of the Year. Um, so definitely interesting perspective conversation. Let me grab the super chat here. T Rock with the $2 super chat says 80-foot Michael Rooker should win best performance. Thank you for that super chat, T Rock. Okay, Nate says, agree. Nintendo has to stop getting default nomination because the industry can't get over nostalgia for them. Do you think it's part of nostalgia? Maybe why Nintendo is Game of the Year? I mean, look, Astrobot. So it's interesting. Like you talk about like Astrobot, right? Astrobot won Game of the Year last year, and it was a platformer. Did you play Astrobot Logic? I'm just curious to get your perspective on Astrobot versus Donkey Kong Bonanza.
I did not play Astrobot, and so that's why I haven't had any commentary on that game and its relation to whether or not platformers should kind of be in the zeitgeist. I don't want to appear to be throwing shade at a game that I haven't played.
Yeah.
Um, so
It's
yeah,
like I look at like so I played Astrobot. I look at Astrobot, right? And where Astrobot probably it took like some of the best elements of Nintendo platform games and it probably and really built off the foundation of Astrobot as a demo on the when the PlayStation 5 launch, incorporating a lot of the haptic feedback and dual sense features. Um, Like I think the implementation of hardware and gameplay mechanics with Astrobot, I think that to me was why that game was in conversation, and because they stuck the landing right, with the gameplay. But I think that is why that game was probably, or why that game was nominated for Game of the Year. I thought it was a great game. You know, it did things that other platformers hadn't done. Again, and I say other platformers in the sense of how incorporated the use of the dual sense, um, with it, with with the in-game gameplay mechanics. So, um, yeah, I don't know, man. It's kind of interesting. Like I mean, if you ever go back and play Astrobot Logic, I'd like to revisit this conversation with you because I'd be curious to get your perspective on playing Astrobot and then
That's I
looking
would,
at Astrobot in comparison to other platformers,
I
and if
would,
those and how that fits into Game of the Year. Yeah, go ahead.
I would highly recommend not waiting around for that.
No interest in playing Astrobot.
Yeah,
Okay,
no.
fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Let me pull up this screen here real quick. Where? All right. So I'm not doing. I'm actually not partaking in Black Friday this year. Nothing for anything game related. Just not anything I really want right now. But look, Black Friday's here. So we'll discuss some of the Black Friday deals that are out right now. Interestingly enough, you talked about the Xbox console, right? The Xbox Series S right now. The 1 terabyte SSD console on Amazon is 420, or I'm sorry, on Walmart it's 428. The MetaQuest 3S is 249 at Walmart. I'm sorry, the MetaQuest 3S, the 128 gigabyte version with Batman Arkham Shadows is 249 right now. The PlayStation 5 Slim console digital edition is $400 right now at Best Buy. That's actually $100 off. So, it's interesting, Logic. Like there definitely a lot of deals for consoles here, especially with PlayStation. Not so much with Xbox, which I thought was kind of interesting. And I was thinking about this today. I'm like, well, why aren't they any deals for Xbox? I mean, like, I don't know. I'm just thinking about this, like with the price increase of the Xbox consoles right this year, and then no Black Friday deals. Like Logic, to me they're just saying like we really don't want people to buy our console. I mean, this is the big retail year, especially as we ramp up for the holidays here in the U.S. But this is the big kickoff to holiday spending when consumers typically spend the most. Um, and there's no. I'm just surprised again if you go. I'll say this: if you go to the Microsoft store, you can. There is a there. I think they're giving 130. I think it is. I'd have to go back and look. 130, 150 for trade in if you trade in an old console. Towards an Xbox Series consoles. Um, but outside of that logic, like there really isn't much in the way of Black Friday deals that we typically see with Xbox consoles. Are you surprised by that?
No, not necessarily. I mean, they've been indicating for quite some time that they just don't have a concern for their software selling. I mean, their hardware selling. Sorry. And just have. I mean, they've been talking since last year how they just feel like there's nothing for them to do. At least as far as the Xbox Series X and S are concerned. Um, I assume that they have more energy behind their other go-to-market efforts that they've talked about. Um, so I mean, we'll have to see how those unfold. Um, BRAP, the brightness of the future is always coming. It's always just around the corner for Xbox. So we just have
Yeah,
to
people need to stop with
hold
that.
on. We just need to hold out a little while longer.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Yeah, the brightness argument. I've said this on the show. I've lived this for the last 13 years as a content creator and being on Twitter. There's always some light at the end of the tunnel, whether it's cloud, ESRAM, untethering of the Connect. There's always something, right? But that's just I am. This to me is like the white flag. Like we're not even interested in selling hardware. We're not even trying to sell you hardware. We're not even trying to sell you hardware during the busiest like spend period, right? for consumers. From now through the holidays. Like we're just not even interested. Like we're not discounting. We're not encouraging people to buy consoles. Like they just don't want you to do that. And then you have PlayStation in contrast. It's you can go out and buy a PS5 Slim for $400, $100 off. And so I don't like using this analogy because some of the Xbox content creators typically do this. But when little Johnny and his mom, who's driving a Honda Odyssey, walks into Best Buy and they see the PS4 or PS5 at $100, and at $400, and they see an Xbox. They see an Xbox Series S. At what was I say, 428. I mean, and by the way, the 428 is at Walmart. I don't know what it's retailing at. Let me look this up real quick. I'm curious to see what the.
I mean, at that price for the PS5 Slim console, it is actually less than the Nintendo Switch 2 right now.
Oh, yeah, no, it is. That's a great point. See what the cost of Xbox Series S is at Best Buy. Yeah, I don't know, Logic. I just think it's kind of odd, man. That's all. That's my only point. It's odd that in years prior they have done some kind of Black Friday deal for their hardware, and they're just not even doing it now.
Hey, just one second. Hold on. What page are you on?
What's that?
What page are you on? What site is that?
This is CNET.
Because the Legion Go, I know that's the original that's on the last version of I guess the Z1 Extreme, I would hope.
Actually, no. At Best Buy, I stand corrected. At Best Buy, the Series S is showing $400 right now.
Wow. So Series S at the same price for a PlayStation 5 Slim.
And that's the 512 gigabyte. That's a 512 gigabyte version.
Wow.
For $400. The Xbox Series S 1 terabyte is $450.
Wow.
The Xbox Series X is $650 right now at Best Buy. And that's
So the PS5 Gold, I know maybe you were planning on the PS5 Gold Limited Edition Ghost of Yotei bundle. So that's not okay. So that's not the custom console. That's just like the regular console with the game.
Yeah.
Oh no, it is. No. That's with the side plates and the custom controller.
Oh yeah, it is. You're right. Ooh, that's a nice looking console too.
Yeah. Look,
$500? Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Look, I'm not making that out to be a big thing. I'm sure there are people, there are gonna be Xbox fans and stuff coming by. Ooh, yes, like the point is that it's a custom version of the console on sale for $500.
And I think the point is Sony's looking to take advantage of when consumers open up their wallet to spend money, and this is the time of the year they do it in droves. Yeah.
Do you think what did Nate put? This is the prime time for PlayStation to set themselves up to cross 100 million consoles headed into 2026. Do you think this is PlayStation playing Division 1 ball and trying to put a stake in the heart of Xbox? Do you think this is them running up the score? Do you think this is them going for the jugular?
Yeah, I do. I mean, look, think about it for a second, right? You get a PS5 Slim, right? And this isn't a lesser of, right, in terms of hardware specifications. This is the PlayStation 5. You can either get that or get an Xbox Series S. That's the lesser of the two SKUs. Like I don't even know. Like to me as a consumer, it's a no-brainer. If I'm a consumer, if I'm Johnny, and mom's pulled up in the Honda Odyssey and I walk into Best Buy, I'm like, yeah, PS5 Slim. You know what the tiebreaker is, Logic, right? If I'm confused, if I'm unsure about which direction I want to go or which console I want to get, you what the tiebreaker is, right?
Everything is an Xbox. So why do I need to buy an Xbox?
Well, I was going to say exclusives, but yeah, that's the other point too.
It's the other side of the coin, right? I mean,
Yeah,
again, crazy. And I know Outer Worlds 2 has been nominated. South of Midnight has been nominated. I think they're not in the conversation so much as for the Zeitgeist Award, but types of awards. But it's an interesting positioning on the landscape that these consoles are on sale. In particular, the Ghost of Yote one, the collector's edition now, being that it is a game that's being discussed as being highly lauded, right? Didn't make it into the nominations for GOTY on the TGAs, but has shown up on the Golden Joysticks and is being very highly regarded. So that's the bait, right? You put this console out here, you put the collector's edition even out at a nice price point in comparison to the competition. With a highly lauded game on the hook, that has the potential to do something in the marketplace.
Yeah, I think Sony's going to have PlayStation's going to have a huge holiday season. And if you consider like gaming is also given the economic environment, if you think about like the economic environment here in the U.S., where there's been a lot of conversation about inflation, cost of living, here you are, and you get a console now for $400, right? I mean, that's going to be appealing to some subset of consumer.
Yeah, and Johnny Gaming makes a good point. Outer Worlds 2 is on PS5, so that's not even a difference maker. True. I think there's still some value, right? Some quantifiable, notion involved in a game that resonates as being the game for a console. But yes, yeah, absolutely. Outer Worlds 2 can be had on PlayStation 5, so that may not be. I'm not saying it's a huge deal. I'm just saying that it's not zero.
Yeah, I think for me, Logic, like this just screams like that Microsoft, that they just don't care about console hardware anymore. They're not even trying. Like they're not even trying here. They're not even like throwing in a free copy of a game. They're not throwing in a copy of Outer Worlds 2. Nothing.
It is very much like stepping up to the plate and getting walked.
Yeah,
it's very much like a walk-off homer in the ninth inning.
Yeah, they just don't care. Like I don't like. I know a lot of people say, oh, they're committed to hardware next generation. I think, yeah, I mean, obviously they are to an extent, but I think that is, I think part of that strategy is to pacify, their dedicated consumer base for one more generation. But I think, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before from them. I don't think there's any. I know someone's gonna say, "Oh, well, there aren't any Nintendo, Switch 2 deals," and you guys aren't saying anything about that. I think the difference there with the Switch 2 and the Xbox Series consoles is that the Switch 2 is selling very well. When you have that kind of demand, I mean, why are you incentivized and I'm not as what's the incentive for Nintendo to sell something at a discounted price when that console is in hot demand anyway? They're just not going to do that. They leave money at the table.
Oh wow! Corey Massey points out another thing. The Outer Worlds 2 game is discounted on PS5. It's down to $55.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. So I guess in Corey's scenario, he would say, you're going in to buy a console. You've done some quick looking around to see kind of what games are highly reviewed, highly rated. Maybe you've come by some award show talk, and you have this thought of maybe going after Outer Worlds 2, but you find out it's not. Not only is it on Xbox, but it's on PlayStation 5 and on PS5. It's down. It's discounted. Now I don't know if it's discounted on Xbox, so that would be good to know. But it's a good point.
Hey, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's discounted on Xbox either. I'm not sure.
While Corey Massey is speaking up, I want to give a huge shout out to Corey and Innate, who, sorry to swing back to the socio-cultural issues of Twitter, but I do want to give those two guys a big shout out for the people who have come by my timeline and said, you don't even post gameplay and pics, and them specifically being the guys who said, what the hell are you talking about? And also participating in helping paint somebody who was in my opinion is a clear and obvious fraud, claiming that he plays on PC and claiming that he has a high powered rig. But people have pointed out that his photos look very suspect. And Innate doing some research on that. So I appreciate both of you guys. In my thank you Thanksgiving tweet that I put out about, I really appreciate, the people who have kind of come into my circle and, who we can debate with, who we can even have heated disagreements with, and then still come back and acknowledge that, like, it's not personal, and understand that we all ascribe, those of us in the circle all ascribe to kind of the same philosophies and thoughts and ethos of gaming. Um, I want to give a huge shout out. I've commented on this show how I don't consider myself a content creator. I don't consider myself a part of the gaming community, but I do appreciate, the people that I've found to rock with, and Corey and I have gone at it this year. We have devolved into a cursing, shouting match at one point on Twitter. Um, Innate and I have disagreed. I gave Innate a little guff, and he gave us a little guff for the initial discussion of the Nintendo Switch 2. So again, this is proof that, people can disagree. It can get a little heated, but when you are around people long enough to really kind of get to understand where they're coming from, and you're not doing this thing that a lot of people on Twitter do, which is like you see one tweet from a person and you go off and start making accusations about who that person is when you absolutely actually have no idea who they are. I appreciate that kind of behavior. So much thanks, guys.
Yeah. No, well said. Well said. So Outer Worlds 2 is actually discounted on Xbox as well. It's same price.
Okay.
So it's down to 55. Yeah. I have Game Pass PC, so if I play it, I'll be downloading it there. But yeah, Logic. I keep going back to this Black Friday thing with Xbox. I'm like, geez, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what the Circana numbers are for retail during the holiday season. But I mean, I think PlayStation is going to do very well this holiday, as will Nintendo Switch 2. I think they're going to lap Xbox by a lot in terms of sales this holiday season. I mean, like I said, Xbox, they're not even trying. I mean, I think this is. I mean, if you're not if you're a console manufacturer and you're not trying to take advantage of, Black Friday and the holiday season, that just speaks volumes to me. I mean, you basically are saying we're done. It's over.
Yeah, and it means, and I think a lot of people have tried to give voice to, like, this isn't what's happening. That's not what's going on. But, at a certain point, you have to start looking at things that are happening objectively and not weaving fanfic, right, to justify it or rationalize it. Things are happening for a reason. And I'm not saying that means the reasons we give behind it are the ones that are right, but what it means is that you should probably be open-minded to hearing different perspectives, right, and hearing different opinions about what may or may not be going on, and not necessarily buying the assertions of people who insist a thing is not going on, particularly when those people have been wrong on dozens and dozens and dozens of occasions.
Yeah. Let me grab the super chat here. The Gaming Ledger with the Canadian $5 super chat says, or Canadian $5 super chat says, at some point, Circana and other outlets need to exclude the Xbox sales or lack thereof and their console pulse checks. I don't necessarily agree with that, Game Ledger, because I think it gives interesting perspective in terms of the disparity between, Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox. I think further gives us insight into why Xbox may be pivoting away from hardware. I know people don't like. There's content creators say, oh, they're not pivoting. They double down. Sarah Bond has doubled down. I get that. But I think that their strategy as it relates to hardware is going to be a bit different than PlayStation and Nintendo's moving forward. And I think, again, to you look at Circana numbers with hardware, you look at like Black Friday here, they're not even trying. I think that to me is a big indicator, a big hint as to, I think, the future of Xbox hardware.
Yeah, I mean, I'd actually say one of the things I've actually really become more interested in, and Innate and I have been talking about this in DMs. I really think, well, I would like to CSER kind of get to a point where we actually see platform numbers for these things when they show up on sales that are when they're multi-platform. One of the industry analysis, market analysis firms in the UK that I think Nintendo Life sites do actually give you those platform numbers. And so it's interesting there when, you can see, certain games, not Nintendo Life, maybe Nintendo Everything. When you can see how, and they put out the numbers for each platform. So it's a Nintendo aligned site, but the data that they cite shows distribution on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. And so it's super interesting when you get access to that data and you can see games selling egregiously, like in larger proportions on PlayStation than on Xbox. I would actually love to see that from Circana. They're not obligated. I'm not saying I feel that we're owed. I'm not on this political socialist agenda that, there needs to be greater transparency in gaming industry, information, and we should have insight into when exclusives are being made. I'm not a hipster, trying to, argue for non-capitalist, right, transparency in the industry. But it would be interesting because in the conversations that I've had recently over this past week and the run-ins with PC gamers, I am no longer convinced that the newest games, the high-end games, the games that are demanding in performance, I'm no longer convinced that they're doing numbers on PC. I think there needs to be evidence of that because I am more convinced today than I have been in the past that those Steam hardware numbers actually mean something. And when you see that greater than 50% of the PC gaming community is on Steam is represented by low end hardware, I'm starting to think that there's much more reality to that than I have in the past, and I think that impacts what games are actually selling on PC.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Logic. All right, here's some other gaming related deals right now. Madden 26 for all platforms is $30. Gonna have to pick that up. NHL 26 for PS5 is $48. God of War Ragnarok for PS5 is $20. Marvel Spider-Man 2 for PS5 is $30. Sackboy Big Adventure for PS5 is $20. Hogwarts Legacy for Nintendo Switch is $25. Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster for PS5 is $20. Star Wars Outlaws for Nintendo Switch 2 is $30. There you go, Logic. Some decent software sales there. Some of these games. Some of them are bangers.
Okay, so Uchin mentions that it's GFK in the UK that gives platform number percentage sales split. So I appreciate that. And Nate mentions, sorry to swing back to my interjection, but Nate mentions the fact that Valve themselves stated that the Steam machine is more performant than 70% of its user base is telling. Yeah, and again, I'll just mention this as an interjection, not to skew the conversation that way. Just to explain myself, the difference, Nate, is I have always had in my head that while that may be true, the 30% that are above the Steam machine are the people that are really spending money. And while that may be true, I don't know that then comparison between what they're spending and what console players are spending is in my mind right in the same kind of ratio that I've historically thought of it as. And so this whole notion of, the biggest growth is on PC and everybody's moving to PC. And I'm like, well, okay, maybe that's true, but people are moving to PC to play, 7 Days to Die, which runs on a 4 gigabyte GPU, and not high end games. So I'm sorry, go ahead, Brett.
No, you're good. I'm just looking at Black Friday deals for TVs. Not that I need another OLED, but I'm just looking at LG. Has some decent Black Friday deals on some of their OLEDs. All right. Some other Black Friday deals on gaming accessories. Let's see here. Xbox wireless headsets, $96. Xbox wireless controllers, $50. Should probably click on these sites here. This is some of these are on Walmart, Best Buy. I'll put the link here in the chat if you all are interested in. Just drop the link to the CNET article that you see here on the screen. You see the PlayStation Portal is $20 off. It's $179 right now, Logic.
Yeah, I feel like that's a doorbuster catfish. You know, like that's not
Doorbuster catfish.
No, I mean like that doesn't actually move the needle for anyone. It's one of those things that though, like if you get somebody in the door off a doorbuster, right, you're hoping that they pick that up along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe somebody who's kind of on like, the I'm thinking about it, and then like that's on the fence, and that $20 discount is like, you know what? I might as well go ahead and get it. I can save $20 right now. Who knows when it's going to be on sale again?
Yeah. Although I feel like that maybe I feel like that's mostly more like the person was already planning on getting it anyway. But yeah, so yeah, yes, sort of the same thing you're saying, but in my mind, a person who was already leaning towards getting it anyway, and that's just like the tip over. Not so much like the person who's curious about it and like the $20 drives them to get it. Like I feel like if you put it at $150, that's the point where you're like, oh, I've been thinking about this, but yeah, now it's definitely a cop. You know what I mean? So it's
yeah,
nuance.
Yeah. All right, Logic. Any other Black Friday deals that kind of stayed out to you here on the CNET article?
No,
DualSense Edge wireless controller is $170.
No, I'm like you. I mean, it's gonna sound like a humble brag, but I literally have everything right now. So there's nothing there that really moves the needle for me.
Yeah, no, me too. I mean, I kind of have everything that I need right now. I'll probably end up picking up Madden though. Madden for $30 is actually pretty good, and get it for the kids too. PlayStation VR to Call the Mountain bundle is $300 right now, and that is that's actually at Best Buy right now. Yeah, what if Sony's going to abandon VR at some point? I don't think the PlayStation VR 2 has been successful for them.
It's a super weird thing for me where, yeah, you would have. I mean, for quite frankly, for all the guff we give Xbox about this, like, will they or won't they, this back and forth thing, this matter of uncertainty. I mean, all indications were that PlayStation was going to pack it in on PSVR 2, right? Like, pulled studios off of at least one studio off of a VR title, I think that it was working on. In indications that at least there aren't any more first party studios working on VR stuff. The whole, enabling the PSVR 2 headset to work on PC, which if that was gonna be a big thing, I feel like there would have been more robust support for that. So it just seems like something they're not all in on. And this gives us shades of the Vita timeframe, right? Where you had the Vita out and then just kind of PlayStation just kind of stopped talking about it. So I think that's what a lot of us have picked up on, is saying, okay, this, they're really not like really interested in this thing. But then there's this stuff that seems like they're gonna continue to like support it. Like they're not letting it go. Like they're not backing off of it completely. So it seems like they're backing off of it completely. Then they do these little things to come back to it. So it's just weird. Like, okay, Brad. Now you got the M4 MacBook Pro on there. Now,
yeah, that's there you go. There you go.
Although I wouldn't buy that. I just bought the M5 MacBook Pro, so I wouldn't throw $2,200 after the M4. Yeah, that's them. That's them trying to move inventory.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Which in that case, it should be marked down a lot more. So is that still that CNET article?
Yeah, it's a CNET article. Yep.
Might go check out the specs on that. I know Wise Old Gamer had like a really nice. You mentioned that because I never even thought about it. Had like one of the MacBooks with like the M4 like Max or M4 Pro or whatever on it. So
Okay. Yeah, here we go. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate right now, 1 month is $10 at CD Keys. So if you're interested in maybe stacking your Xbox Ultimate Game Pass Ultimate subscription, you can go to CD Keys and do that.
yeah, I take back a little of what I said about that MacBook. That MacBook is the M4 Pro with only a 512 gigabyte SSD, but you know that may not be a horrible deal for somebody going MacBook
Yeah,
shopping.
I was gonna ask you if it was a good deal or not. Yeah, CNET rated it best gaming laptop for Apple users.
Yeah, that's a that's a yeah, that's an opinion to have.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
I have the M5 MacBook, which apparently takes a huge leap beyond
Mhm.
the M4 MacBook. Now I don't know about the M4 Pro. I haven't looked at what GPUs in the M4 Pro, but takes a huge leap beyond the M4 MacBook. And I have the M4 MacBook Air. And I will pull like high to low 70 frames per second in Resident Evil 4 on the M5. So it's respectable performance. Saying it's the best for Apple gamers like isn't really saying a lot. Like before that, those M4s wouldn't. I mean, I might be barely able to hold 60, maybe. So
Yeah, I'm looking at some of these. I was just looking at that Alienware gaming PC. Yeah, not for 1350.
I know what's in that one.
Yeah, that one is it's comes with the NVIDIA 5060 Ti, Intel Core Ultra 7 265 5F 20 cores, 32 gigabytes of DDR5, 1 terabyte SSD.
Yeah. Now, I mean, when you and I bought our CyberPower PCs 3 years ago, going on 4, I'm pretty sure we paid like $1,500. Maybe
No, I paid more. I
you
paid more
paid
than
more
that.
than that. Yeah.
I paid about mine was about I think it was close to $2,000. I think it was
Okay.
about 2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I actually did some upgrades, off
Yes.
the off the build that they had the 50 or the 3070 build that they had.
Yeah. 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 I mean, where I am right now, if I were gonna do it, which I would do if I needed to, I would go with a configurator where I could like get a bargain basement GPU because I have GPUs to put in it. And where I would get like a bargain basement SSD. Like and I have a 64 gigabyte DDR5 RAM kit here, so I would get whatever the bare minimum. Like I would cut corners, but I was playing with a configurator here. I think even at Origin PC, um, even for like a 9800X AMD Ryzen CPU, and yes, like I bumped up on the AIO because I got a 360 millimeter AIO because I'm like I don't see the point in running a higher end chip without it. And so there were some, and I got it in a really big case, which cost money. But even for me, cutting quarters on the SSD, the RAM, and the GPU, and I got it with a 1,000 watt power supply. Um, for a configurator that I have confidence in, because of course that one that I bought from CyberPower PC, I wound up having to pull it apart and do a complete cooling system rip out and replacement and upgrade because they'd only put like the thermal paste job that they put on it didn't entirely cover the CPU. The CPU was like only like 40% coverage, which is horribly shoddy workmanship. So I would never buy another CyberPower PC. So going with a higher end configurator, that's still like a $2,000 PC. And yes, I could come in cheaper by just ordering the parts, but like Nate said, like there's times in my life where I don't feel like being hunched over a box. Right? doing a build. So yeah, it ain't cheap.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. Which is, as much as I say one day I'm going to build a box, I don't know if I'm going to take the time to ever do that.
Yeah, and
I don't. I
Ropes.
just. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Robeson in chat mentions, going back to the VR topic. If I wouldn't wear glasses, I would have been interested. I will say, Robeson, I wear glasses, and I used to wear contacts. And I've kind of just given up on wearing contacts because I have enough like old glasses around that will stay on my face like when I'm working out. So now I don't feel like I need contacts anymore. And I have prescription sunglasses too, which I used to wear contacts mainly so I could wear like my Under Armour sunglasses. Um, I have glasses and they work fine in my VR headset. I had them out on the Oculus Rift S last night. And they work fine.
Mhm.
Not that I'm trying to convince you. If you've already decided, VR is not for you, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to tell you to reconsider it. I'm just throwing that out as a data point.
Yeah. All right, Logic. Look, that's all I have for topics, man. It's a short show. It's day after Thanksgiving. It's Black Friday. So hopefully happy hunting out there for those who are gonna go out there or those already out hunting those Black Friday deals. I want to get back to Arc Raiders. So unless there's anything else you want to discuss, Logic.
No, I just find it funny. Nate is saying in the chat, he's letting Priscilla do the upgrade.
Yeah, Nate, I wish you guys lived closer. Maybe I'd have you guys help me build a PC. Because I'm definitely, I don't know how I feel about the tinkering and stuff, and cable management and all that other stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I watch YouTube videos, seems easy enough, but it's like, it's easy when you've done it a couple times.
Have you not asked Slow-Mo to come up and help you?
Slow-Mo, I don't know. Like he doesn't want me to see his face because I guess he,
Yeah.
he's something about his job.
Because look, man, I don't live that far from you, but I'm like, I don't know that I'm down. I don't know that I'm taking off a weekend to help you build a PC.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
I told you, man, I'll let you buy the 64 gigabyte RAM kit.
Yeah, Nate says Priscilla's down to build a PC every day of the week. Nate, how's Priscilla's cable management? Because my cables would be all over the place.
Well, apparently, BRAP, I hear if your cable management isn't pristine, then somehow that causes you to lose frames per second, and that makes you a bad PC gamer, regardless of whether or not you're running specs higher than the person making the comment.
Oh my goodness, that is crazy. That is just an asinine comment.
Oh, I
say cable management because that's just my own OCD, right? But
I had a smudge on my plexiglass, so that means I wasn't as credible of a PC gamer as the person who supposedly build rigs that last for 21 to 30 years.
Yeah. Oh, Nate says Priscilla is insane cable management. All right, Nate, can you take a picture of her cable management and send it to me in DM? Because I want to see some of her builds. It's immaculate when she's done with it. You know what? I might need to. You know what? Maybe I could ship parts to you guys. Have you guys build a PC for me and then ship it out to me.
I think they would actually. I'm pretty sure Priscilla would actually do that. I can't do
I
that.
think she would. Yeah.
I can tuck my cables away enough so they're not all over the place and not really causing an airflow problem. But in general, I'm just like, I need to get this thing up and get gaming. And I definitely don't have time. One of my when I was younger building, I used to do this thing of like, let's just get this thing operational and get it buttoned up. Or not even buttoned up. I would sometimes leave the side off of it. I was like, 'cause I'm going to get it running, get the OS installed, right? Get everything checked out. And then I'll go back in the case and do some time. I don't do that anymore. No, let's just get this thing up and go.
Yeah, I want to see I want to see this cable management now that Innate mentioned here in the live chat. So who set up the gaming room then? Is that both you and Priscilla? Because you guys have a like probably the best, one of the best gaming setups that I've seen. Like with the monitors and all the lighting, RGBs and everything.
So, Brad, while we're waiting for Nate to respond, I will say also I'm a little salty that you haven't asked about my avatar this morning.
Oh yeah, who is that, by the way?
So this is Rami Ismail, who was a developer, is kind of like an advisor and consultant for small publishers now, for indies. And I often cite great comments Rami has made about like the industry, and so I agree with him about a lot of things. I'm using his avatar today as a representation of all the PC gamers I've had run-ins with over the last week, who I have come to realize now, as Nate and I have been mentioning, are actually playing on potatoes. So, and are not the people, the people who are running around saying you can build a PC for the same price as the PS5 Pro, are actually themselves not playing on hardware that is equivalent to a PS5 Pro, and not running any benchmarking or PC performance overlays that would tell them what their own performance is. And like I said, they're playing games like 7 Days to Die and pixel and voxel games that actually don't demand the performance. So I thought I would. I'm using his avatar as a way to speak out on their hypocrisy.
That's funny. The gaming legend says I can't do the whole RGB lighting and what anymore. Who am I going to impress? My wife. Hey, yeah, I don't know about you, sir, but I can't do a PC. I can't have a PC without RGBs. Just can't do it. Won't do it. So,
I mean, I kind of felt the same way. I kind of felt the same way. I've done it for two reasons. One, it's actually, I feel like it's difficult not to do it now. It's like you actually have to go looking for things that don't have RGB lighting, I feel. I also do it because in some cases in this room, that plexiglass side is facing away from my lighting sources. And so it actually allows me to see inside the case for those PCs, the ones in the back of the room. So yeah, I do have one. It's actually one of my favorite 360 millimeter AIO coolers. Is not lighted. And that's one that Arctic does. It is like literally the quietest cooling solution that I have in the lab. So I really like it. Of course, their successor to that has RGB lights.
Yeah. And Nate says you have to go out of your way. All right. And Nate, are you no longer on no, send it to me in on X. Or maybe I can see it on Discord. Hold on a sec here. Hold on, let me check Discord.
Is there even still a BRAP
Discord? Oh, I
Discord?
see it. Oh, wow. Yeah, there's a BRAP Discord here, yeah. Okay. We don't really use it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at Priscilla. Yeah, Priscilla got nice, good. This is good cable management. I like this. Oh, you know what? Oh, man. I tell you what, Anita, we got to chat offline, sir. We need to chat offline.
Yeah, Nate's not wrong. That the whole the encrypted DMs on BRAP. Actually, Nate, at one of the points where I was going back and forth with you this morning, I usually don't have Twitter installed on my phone, but I installed it to mobile, and like I couldn't see the DMs that were on the desktop.
Yeah, I can't either.
For like an hour, and then like an hour later they started showing up.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. Yeah, it's bad. It's not good. Yeah. So, all right, Logic. Well, that's all I have today. Do want to get back and play some Arc Raiders, but I would give a shout out to everyone in the live chat. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning for this special edition of Black Friday episode of BRAP, and we'll be back next week, Wednesday, at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So, Logic, any closing thoughts?
No, man, not at all.
All right, well, everyone, go out there and game. If you're off here, as most of us are in the U.S., enjoy today playing some good video games. And oh, hold on, we got a T-Rock with a $5 super chat here. Thank you, T-Rock. Says BRAP, are you trying the free trial for Battlefield 6 this weekend? I'll be playing. No, I won't be doing that. I'm playing Arc Raiders right now. So yeah. But yeah, do me a favor, do the YouTube thing, hit the hit the like button and consider subscribing, hit the bell notification so you're alerted when we go live. And Logic, I don't know if you want to be fan, but if you do, let everyone know they can find you. If not, I completely understand.
No, man, I'm good. People know where I am.
All right. All right, everyone. Well, thank you again for watching. We will catch you next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And Nate, thanks for the more cable management screenshots. I appreciate it. Yeah, I got to reach out to you, Nate. Maybe I don't know if you guys are up for maybe building a PC. But yeah, we'll chat later. But on that note, we're out. Thank you again for watching, everyone. We'll catch you next time.